Hey everyone, this is Tappers here again, and welcome back to the Kirby's Dreamland 2 playthrough. Let's play. So we last left off by beating Iceberg and getting the rainbow drop of some annoyance. Now we are heading to Red Canyon level 5, where we pretty much avoid becoming a flat slate thanks to our blunder there. But Red Canyon is kind of not particularly an interesting world to me. I mean, it's a rocky area, right on cue with seeing a rocky and a Master Green that we don't necessarily need to fight, as we tried to rescue our animal buddy, which is in our range, but it just pushes us back into the spikes and then we get hurt, which kind of sucks. But there technically is a way to have like a safe spot if you just go down there. I mean, I would be doing some ducking, but I can't because I actually fall through the thing, so that kind of sucks. Fortunately, I'm safe near a wall because he can't hit me. But, well, he can hit me when he decides to jump. He's also being very uncooperative in his attacks, but finally we can defeat him for no real reason, and, well, we can get Rick, because, well, being a landmass mountainside area, we can just kind of go through the motions, zap everything with the spark power, which is pretty good with him. I would still say that Kine has probably the best spark power by a mile. Also, this area is really easy to fall into bottomless pits. I've done it in some practice attempts. Also, be careful that Gordos can actually drop on you and all that. It's not cool, because, I mean, they need to find a new home. They can't surround that block forever. They have to move on and all that. Also, you probably haven't seen Rick's combination with Cutter. I will tell you right now, it is complete garbage. Also, that's kind of a garbage move right there, putting a spike pit there, which you do need to destroy blocks to move on. I'm also being careful here because the momentum, or well, I wouldn't even say momentum, you just have to be careful of the slopes. Also, it's kind of a dickhead move, putting a freaking, what is it? An exit door right there in midair, because if you don't enter it properly, well, you're kind of screwed. Also, can't hit that with spark because the shot zoos for some reason deflect objects that aren't completely below the waist, so that kind of sucks. Also, this is an area where you do not want to use your powers. Instead, I just use it to have my attack deflected. You can't. Oh, by the way, those are some reoccurring enemies that we saw there. They are basically the knights that say no, they're not that. That one in particular, I believe, was called Blade, and he has two more buddies that we will eventually see, but not right now. I'll mention them, I think, when we get to 5.3. I don't think they appear in 5.2, as we're in right now. But suddenly we're not in a landmass, but we're just in a grassland area, so that's kind of, whatever. We do, however, got a new mini-boss. This is, well, he's a ninja, but he goes by the name of Waiu. I can't say, what's it called, ninja names, because they're kind of odd. Also, I avoided Rick because I've got the Cutter ability, and, well, Cutter with Rick is pretty awful, I would say. The others are just massively better. I mean, Kine's is has kind of the same as with Fire, where it just shoots it forward. It's kind of like almost a Sonic Boom slicer thing, and you already know what Ko's is, so that one kind of goes without saying. But it's a case where Cutter's not particularly good by itself, but it's better than what Rick has. We also go up to this top pass so we can recharge our energy with a max tomato. It does look like a ladybug. Also, there were 1-ups, but screw that because we don't really have a very good power to get through that. I mean, I could have gotten a 1-up if I did the minigame well, but it doesn't matter. So now you're probably wondering about those other nights. Well, if you go in, you have 3 choices of doors. Depending on which one you go in, you will get an animal buddy and a different soldier. That one was Butch. He is kind of like a skeleton thing that shoots boomerang axes of doom or something like that. Or, I'm sorry, hatchets of doom. The other one we didn't see is a mace wielder by the name of Masher. He basically just kind of lifts his mace up and then just kind of hurls it in a way. Also, we have these weird snake enemies, which I don't think I mentioned back in Ripplefield. Those were called... what were they called? Well, they're like Elite, or Eel, with 6 letters or something like that. But there were some secrets that I'm sure I missed, but I'm not going back to get them because you pretty much need kind in order to get them. Also, Dick moved by putting a Scarfy right there, and I'm also not leaving the stage until I pretty much destroyed the Scarfy without taking damage there. I don't like Scarfies if you haven't, or if you couldn't tell, but what can you do? Either way, I don't really need Ko in this world. Also, get kind of a little bit of a Mario-ish looking sky top, mushroom top sort of landmass mountain area. I mean, the reason I say it looks like Mario is like, some of the stages in Mario 1, you have those flat mushroom platforms that you can traverse and all that. Also, Brown Bert's everywhere, pretty much doing damage. And now we have the last mini-boss of the game. This is Captain Stitch. He's the needle power-up, and you can't hurt him very easily. You have to wait for him to shoot his stitches at you. I'm not going to make any sort of stitches joke because it's not exactly amusing. Also, he moves around very erratically for whatever reason. And I decide, nope, I'm not going to take the needle power up or kind because, as you can see, this is an area you do not want kind in because having no land movement and having no ability to reposition yourself, you're going to probably fall into a pit along with all the Gordos and wind that doesn't make things easy. By that, I mean pretty much the early part of the segment. Also, I don't like the fact the wind keeps you from getting through the stage and whatnot. But now we have all these flipper enemies that we just need to avoid in order to get to the end before we die. But, spoiler, we have our first death. Or at least I think it's first death, but kind of hard to say. Yeah, this actually would be an area easy with kind, or if we had, like, the... I don't want to say needing the needle power-up, because it's still kind of bad. At least in this game. Other games, it's probably okay, but not really. Careful of some eels. Well, by some eels, I mean just the one and nothing else. Because, yeah. Also, Scarfy there. I probably should have saved that thing, but oh well. This is kind of an annoying area to get through with an animal buddy, especially right here. This is kind of brutal in a way because you don't get much time to get through. I mean, I made it look easy, but then again, Kirby's half the size. Or should I say, his animal buddies are like 1.5 the size of what Kirby is, but yeah. So, last stage we had the secret in 4-4. Now we have it in 5-5. This is getting really creative here, but I did a little jump cut there because I need Rick for this stage, or I don't necessarily need to have Rick. I mean, I probably could have Kirby by himself, but I also need the spark power, which honestly I didn't need to get. But what I did was I went to 5-1 and beat Master Green to get Rick and then the spark power. But honestly, I didn't even need the spark power because I can just get some right here. Also, you want to make sure that you're careful in this segment to not get hit because, well, it's an auto-scroller and I'm being very rash by not paying attention to what I'm doing. Getting hit by the broom hatters, just minding their own business. Because obviously you want to be dusting off a mountainside that's red for whatever reason. Now, this secret in the past used to frustrate me to no end, and I'll kind of explain why once I get there, while we have another umbrella enemy and Master Pangu that we don't care about. Now, here's one area that irritates me. The secret is up here, but there's also these porcupine spike enemies, and you can lose your power very easily, or you can also fall off. Then there's this part where you need Rick in order to hit the overhead. You can't use Kine and you can't use Ko. But then you also need... You can use Kirby to hit the overhead ones, but hitting the ones that are across the pit, which is kind of evil for an area that's hidden and has the rainbow drop. Also, the auto-scrolling's done, so now you can move downwards, but... what was I saying? Oh yeah, you could use Kirby by himself with Spark, but here's the major problem with doing that. As we blow through the rest of the stage, you have to pretty much use Spark immediately as you jump over the pit and then float. I've tried to do that in the past, and I made things a lot more difficult, mostly because I didn't think Rick's electric power would actually reach, but that doesn't really matter because we got the rainbow drop now. Now we get to a familiar boss if you played Kirby's Adventure. This is Mr. Shine and Mr. Bright. Mr. Shine is the sun, while Mr. Bright is the moon. Also, they're jerks because sometimes they can just transform, swap back, and you can't hurt them when they do that. You can only hurt whichever one is in kind of a human form. Also, screw this attack because sometimes they can just position themselves in a way where you have no idea where they're going to do their solar eclipse attack. And then you pretty much get scorched by the sunburst thing, whatever. So, doing this no damage can be kind of stressful because you just don't know what they're going to do for attacks. Sometimes they'll use their Hadouken, boomerang, cutter attack, or charge at you with a burning tackle. And in this case, usually he doesn't use a certain attack more than once in a pattern. But because, well, we already took out Mr. Bright, the AI sort of changed in a bit, but all in all, this could have been a better fight, but they explode into the thing, and we won't see them again until Superstar, except, well, as a cameo, I should say. Plot device thing. But yeah, that's the end of Red Canyon. So next time, we will be going to Cloudy Park, which is not Bubbly Clouds. This has been Tappers, and I'll see you again next time.